Uh, I don't think we have enough battery left. I think we're gonna run out.
Oh, don't worry about it. Look, the vehicle says we have enough.
Okay, if you say so.
A few moments later.
I think we're about to run out.
Okay, this is what you need to do. Reduce speed, turn off HVAC, turn on regen when you're going downhill, and also pray to Elon for deliverance.
Okay, here we go. Welcome to Ready Steady Charge. I hope you never had to experience such a scary situation like that. However, even the best plans cannot predict everything. So here is my guide to 5 stages of battery depletion and what you can do to make sure you get to your destination. Oh, I got around 50% battery and my EV says I have just enough. I know I'm cutting it close, but it says it's fine, so I got nothing to worry about. At this stage, you still have a lot of battery left, and you're not sure whether or not you're gonna make it. Now let's talk about what you can do before you even hit this point. Let's talk about planning. And let me just say, this type of planning will involve situations where you are close to using up your entire battery capacity or your entire range. If you are driving a distance that is well within the range of your EV, well, you don't have anything to worry about to start with. I am going to talk about 3 different methods of planning. All of them are centered around the concept of using your consumption number. If you want a more detailed description of how to calculate everything, click right here. I got a video about calculating your range from consumption and your battery capacity. The first method for planning is experience. If you have been driving your EV for some time, you will know what to expect in terms of consumption for your city driving, for your highway driving, for your summer driving, for your winter driving. So once you have a predicted consumption number and the distance that you need to drive, you can use those 2 numbers to find out how much energy you're actually going to need to drive that distance. Once you have energy, you can convert that into percentage of battery, and then you know how many percentage of battery you're going to need to drive that distance. And this method does not necessarily rely on, personal experience. There are a lot of people online showing what they do with a specific vehicle. If you can find YouTube videos or articles about other people driving the vehicle that you have, you can take their number, either interpolate or extrapolate what your consumption is going to be, and then calculate how much battery you're going to need to drive a certain distance. Method number 2 is called en route. This is where you're driving a long distance in unfamiliar territories or under unfamiliar conditions. Let's make an example. So let's say I am driving 300 kilometers in total. What I would do is I would drive the first 70 or 80 kilometers until the consumption number on my vehicle stabilizes. And then you can take that consumption number and the remaining battery that you have and calculate whether or not you're going to make it through the rest of the trip. If not, you have to act as early as possible and figure out what to do. One thing to make a note of is this method only works if your entire route is driven under similar conditions. So if the speed is different, if the weather is different, and if the elevation change is different, your consumption number between different segments of the trip will also be different. So just be aware of that. The third method would be called threshold. So this is where you know the distance you're going to drive, and you know how much battery you have left. What you're trying to calculate is what's the worst consumption I can have before not being able to make it. Let's do an example. Let's use my vehicle, the Hyundai Kona EV here. Let's say I have 80% battery left, and that roughly translates to 51 kilowatt hours. With 51 kilowatt hours of energy, Let's say I want to go 300 kilometers of distance. What I need to do is divide the distance by the energy. So 300 kilometers divided by 51 kilowatt hour. I would get 5.9 kilometers per kilowatt hour worth of consumption. Which means if my consumption is worse than this number, 5.9, I am definitely not gonna make it. So this is what you can do to see what's the worst consumption you can have before not being able to make it to your destination. As you are driving, you will keep track of this consumption number on your vehicle's instrument cluster. If this consumption number comes close to your threshold consumption, or becomes worse than your threshold consumption, then that probably means you're not going to be able to make it, and you better act fast to figure out what you can do. I would like to mention a couple of caveats about the consumption number. Say if you're driving to the highway, but you have to drive for a while in the city before you get on the highway, your consumption is going to be really good at the beginning. And as you drive onto the highway, your consumption will get worse, because EVs are more efficient in city speeds and less efficient on the highway. The opposite is also true. So if you start off driving on the highway, then your consumption will be quite bad at the beginning, because your vehicle is building up kinetic energy to keep moving at the same speed. And as you drive further and further on the highway, your consumption is actually going to get better. So pay attention to that. Something else I want to let you know is, at no point did I mention, oh, just use the range estimation on your vehicle to find out how far you can go. And that's because this range estimation on EVs is what we call a GOM, G-O-M, guess-o-meter. And there's a good reason for it. Most of these range estimations are just that, estimations. For my vehicle, the Hyundai Kona EV, the vehicle uses your recent driving habits to estimate your range. So if I had been driving in the city for a long time, and then I want to go on the highway, this range estimation is going to be over optimistic. So that's why I never trust the GOM, and you should never trust the GOM unless you're super confident. And I would rather rely on consumption to determine how far I can drive with the battery that I have. Why is this happening to me? I don't have enough battery to make it there. I knew I should have charged more, and I should not have tried to pass so many vehicles and wasted so much energy. When you know you're not gonna make it, either due to poor planning or unforeseen circumstances, you need to act as soon as possible. And of course, the more battery you have, the more options you have available to you. It is very important to know where charging stations are, especially between where you are right now and where your destination is. In this way, if you are at risk of running out, you already know where you can charge. I would say if you're going on a really long trip, know where the DC fast chargers are. And if there are no DC fast chargers along this route, know where the level 2 or the AC charging stations are. If you have a DC fast charger that is available to you, you usually only need to stay there for about 10 to 15 minutes to give you enough energy to make it to your destination. Something else to remember is, due to the complexities of charging networks, some charging stations, DC fast chargers especially, will not allow you to activate the charging station simply with your credit card. You need a specific app. So before you go on a long trip, make a note of what is required for the DC fast chargers in between, and download the appropriate app beforehand, and load some money into your account beforehand. And like I said before, the more battery that you have left, the more options you have. So keep track of your consumption while you're driving. And that's very important, because that will allow you to realize when the point of no return is. So if you know you're not gonna make it, find the nearest charging station and top up. And then you can make it to your destination, no problem. Okay. If I turn off the music, I can save a bit of energy, right? Oh, and if I stop using the windshield wipers, I can also save some energy. Or maybe I can abandon some of my luggages by the side of the road, and that will reduce some weight. I'll do anything. In the name of Elon, please don't strand me by the side of the road. Okay, a lot of those things will make no difference. But let me tell you what you can actually do to save some energy and reduce your consumption and hopefully make it to your destination. The first thing is reduce your speed. A lot of people like driving fast, especially if you got a very sporty EV. And here in Alberta, my experience with one of the highways is the speed limit is 110 kilometers per hour, and lots of people, EVs or non-EVs, love to drive at 120 to 130 kilometers per hour. One of the first things you can do when you're running out on the highway is to reduce your speed. Maybe go down to the speed limit. Maybe go down to 110 instead of 120 and 130. This will save you quite a lot of energy. And if you need to go lower, driving 100 kilometers per hour on 110 highway, it's still acceptable. Something else you can do to significantly reduce energy use is to turn down your HVAC system. Typically, cooling the cabin doesn't use a lot of energy, but heating your cabin in really cold winter conditions can use a lot of energy. Personally, my vehicle have been seen using about 25% of total energy to heat the cabin on really cold days. So instead of using cabin heating, maybe consider using heated seats if you have them, and heated steering wheel if you got those too. And if you don't have any of those, you can carry with you an electric blanket to put on your lap and heat yourself up that way. Make sure you use the appropriate region setting for your driving condition. To save the most energy, it's different between city driving and highway driving. In the city, typically you're driving in, start and stop traffic. You have traffic lights. Under these conditions, it is best to set your region as high as possible. This way, because you have to stop, you're recuperating as much energy as possible. It's different on the highway. Typically on the highway, you're maintaining the same speed, and you're going at the same speed just forever and ever and ever on. In this situation, it's best to use low regen, so you can coast wherever possible. And you're not constantly slowing down and speeding up on the highway, because that would use more energy. The next thing is reducing drag. Now, this doesn't apply to most situations, but what I'm thinking about is, let's say you got, roof racks mounted and you got bicycles on there. Maybe consider taking them off the roof and disassembling them and stuffing them into the vehicle if you're really running out of battery, because making your vehicle more streamlined will make it more efficient. And if you are running short on battery, make sure your vehicle is actually on eco mode. Don't keep it on sports mode, that's a bit silly. So eco mode on most EVs will give you the ability to save some energy compared to your normal/comfort mode, and of course compared to your sports mode. And those are some of the things you can do to squeeze just a bit more juice out of your battery so that you can either make it to your destination or the next charging station. Oh no, I'm gonna be stranded by the side of the road, and no one will come and save me. I'm going to starve, or even worse, be eaten by hungry wolves. Oh, I can see them approaching me now. At this stage, you're close to running out. But hey, there's still hope. Let me show you more things that you can do to save some energy wherever possible. Slow down even more. If your speed limit is 110, then maybe drive at 100 or 90 kilometers per hour. Of course, if you're driving on a highway, going too slow is very dangerous. Theoretically, if you drive at 50 kilometers per hour compared to 100 kilometers per hour, you're probably going to get twice as much range. That might be something you can do to get by on a lonely country road where no one else is around. It's definitely way too dangerous for a busy highway. turn off your HVAC entirely. When you're about to run out of battery, you don't have that luxury. And most EVs come with a Eco Plus mode. So if you enable this one, it will be able to either severely limit or shut down entirely your HVAC system to save some energy. And what it will also do is limit the amount of power your motor can output as another way of saving energy. So turn off everything you don't need, enable Eco Plus mode, and hope you make it. Something else you can do is called drafting. So drafting is where you would drive behind a vehicle, typically a vehicle that is much larger than yours, and this large vehicle will reduce air resistance for you, therefore making your energy consumption a lot lower. This only works if you follow quite close to that vehicle. And you don't need me to say it, this is quite dangerous, because if the vehicle in front of you slows down and brakes suddenly, you got no time to respond. And also, following really large vehicles tend to get the risk of rock chips on your windshield, because they kick up little rocks or even big rocks, and they can nail your windshield and get a chip. However, if you're about to run out, maybe desperate time calls for desperate measures. The last thing I want to talk about at this stage is level 1 charging. We did a video on level 1 charging. If you want to check that out, click here. Level 1 charging is basically plugging in your vehicle at a household outlet. In the case of North America here, this is basically 120 volt outlets. If you find a town nearby or a gas station nearby, chances are there are going to be household outlets. You can go plug in and charge until you get enough to keep moving. Failing that, if you notice houses or businesses, private properties, chances are they still have access to those outlets. But please make sure you obtain permission from whoever is there before you plug in. Level 1 charging is very slow. It's painfully slow. But I think it still beats being towed. Well, that's it. I'm stranded in the middle of nowhere. There is nothing else I can do. I'm embarrassed, but I need to call a tow truck now. Hey, at least I don't see any wolves. Alright, you are officially stranded. Your vehicle's out of battery and you can't get to anywhere to charge. Time to call a tow truck. However, there are also things to be aware of, even if you need towing. When you know you're about to run out, make sure you don't completely drain your battery. What I mean by completely drain your battery is until the point where all your instruments and electronic systems shut down. When your battery reached 0% on the display of your vehicle, chances are you can still drive a little bit longer. If your charging station is right there within sight, by all means, get there and plug in. But if you drive until all your electronic systems shut down, there could be a lot of problems. Sometimes doors or charging ports could only be opened or unlocked electronically. And if you're completely out of power and you don't know which electronic system is shut down, sometimes you may have trouble opening these doors or ports. If your vehicle's battery is completely drained, your vehicle will start draining your 12-volt battery. If your 12-volt battery becomes drained, then you may not be able to start your vehicle. So if you know you're going to run out, find a safe spot and stop. Don't keep driving until your screens go black, because you might have more trouble down the line, even if you're rescued. If you're lucky enough to get a tow truck to come to you, there's something you need to remind the tow truck driver. I hope most of them know, but it doesn't hurt to just, tell them some information about this, which is you should not allow the wheels on your vehicle that are directly connected to the motor to spin on the ground. And this is very similar to how you would tow an all-wheel drive internal combustion engine vehicle, where you can't allow any of the wheels to drag on the ground. And this is because if you let the wheels roll on the ground, where the wheels are connected to the motor, this can generate excessive current, and this may burn out components within your vehicle. So just make sure that none of the wheels that are connected to the motors, none of the drive wheels, are actually rolling freely on the ground. Beware of cell phone dead zones. These are areas that are either too desolate to receive cell phone signals or too mountainous for cell phone signal to reach you. And I don't need to tell you why it's a bad idea to get stranded in these areas. If you are stranded in places where you cannot get help, then all you have to rely on are passing vehicles. You can flag them down and ask them to help you. So if you're going through these kind of areas, make sure you charge more than you need. Make sure if you're even at a slight risk of running out, self-rescue early, so you avoid being stranded in places where you just can't get help. So something else that's also important, just in general, not just for EVs, is if you're venturing into these kind of places, make sure you have an emergency contact, someone who you would check in every day. So there is at least somebody out there to, send rescue if you are stuck in these kind of places. Well, those are the 5 stages that I would like to discuss. But wait, there's more. There are a couple of miscellaneous things I would like to discuss with you. There is an app that, as an EV driver, you should know about. It's called a Better Route Planner, or ABRP. This is a very special app for EV drivers because it does exactly the things that we've been discussing. So it will tell you whether or not you can make it to your destination, and if not, where is it the best to charge. So it takes into account of a lot of different factors, things like weather conditions, temperature, and also things like elevation changes. It even includes data in this calculation that are generated by other users who drive the same vehicle as you. I had some limited experience with this app, and wherever I've used it, it seemed to be pretty accurate. I trust the app, but maybe I don't trust it 100%. As EV drivers, I hope everyone has heard about the concept of buffers, which means don't plan to drive your EV down to 0% battery. So let's say I need about 80% battery to get to my destination. Maybe I'll charge it up to 90 to 95% battery just so that I plan to arrive with 10 to 15% battery. I would say a reasonable buffer. Under non-extreme conditions, I would say 10 to 15% is good. If you can get 20% buffer, hey, that's even better. It is important to have a certain virtue when charging on a level 2 charger, and that is patience. If you want to see a trip where I had to rely on level 2 charger only, click here. I went from Emmen to Lloydminster and only used level 2 chargers. So level 2 chargers are AC chargers, and typically here in North America, they go up to 7.4 kilowatts. For my vehicle, the Hyundai Kona EV, it charges about 10% battery per hour. So it is slow. But you know what's slower? Level 1 charging. All I'm saying is, if you have to rely on level 2 charging on your long trip, make sure you stay there long enough. If you only need 60% battery, maybe charge to 70%. I know that might take an extra hour, but consider this. If you have to self-rescue with level 1 charging, level 1 charging goes to a maximum of 1.8 kilowatts in North America, which means a level 2 charger charges 4 times as fast as a level 1 charger. And that means staying 1 hour at a level 2 charger will equal to staying 4 hours at a level 1 charging. So, 1 hour of extra time, maybe it doesn't make or break a long trip, but 4 hours of extra time, that's gonna break anyone. The country that I live, for those of you who don't know, is Canada. It's a really big landmass, and there are places without civilization. So if you are driving an EV into places where there are no civilization, you have to be really careful. When I say no civilization, I mean no 120 volt outlets at all. If you're driving into these kind of areas, you need to employ a different method of planning, and that's called the point of no return. One good example is, let's say you have a 400-kilometer distance to go, and there's no chance of charging in between. Then what you need to think about is, let's say if you drive 200 kilometers, if you have already used more than 50% battery, you're definitely not going to make it to the other side. So in these situations where you're driving into places where level 1 charging is unavailable, then you need to decide where is your point of no return. And if your consumption is too high, you use too much energy getting there, you need to turn back, or else you're stuck for good. Let's end on a happier note, and let's talk about tow charging. Technically, all EVs can be tow charged. However, only one brand of vehicle officially supports this feature, and that's Rivian. If you want to see this in action, actually, there's a TV show called Long Way Up, and Ewan McGregor's in it, the guy who plays Obi-Wan Kenobi. And they showed off Rivian's R1T trucks being tow charged. So I'm not gonna go into too much detail about how you're supposed to make tow charging work, but I wouldn't attempt it on any vehicle that does not officially support it. So tow charging is possible, but unless your vehicle officially supports it, I would hesitate to do it. Thank you so much for joining me today on our video about what to do if you are about to run out. If you found this video informative, please give us a thumbs up. If you think I missed something, please put it in the comments below. And I will be answering questions as well, so put it in the comments. Consider subscribing to our channel for more electric vehicle content. My name is Solomon. As always, see you on the next one.